Welcome to this session on Paper 2, Section B, Writing. My name is Mr Caughey. I'm part of the NET English Director team, and the aim of this session is to walk through how you would answer this question. So we want to go through the ins and outs of how we plan it, how we tackle the question, paragraph by paragraph, what do we actually write. So what I'll be doing is working through an example question. It's a question that I haven't seen before, so I am a little bit nervous about how this will go, but it'll give you an insight into the inner workings of how you actually answer it. Not just giving you a full finished product, that's not what we're doing here. The aim is to take you step by step in real time how to answer this question. So what we need to realize is at this point we will have answered the reading section. That would have taken us about an hour to write if we're on time. And the idea that we do the reading section first is that we've read an insert, and often the insert that we've read will give us a bit of inspiration, a bit of information to help us answer whatever question we get given in section B, because they'll be on the same topic. So you can see at the top here, we'll make sure we're in the right section. It says you're advised to spend about 45 minutes on this section. Now advise means should. We should really spend 45 minutes. So the idea is about 5 to 10 minutes planning, 30 minutes writing, and 5 minutes checking at the end. Now it's giving us some obvious points here, but write in full sentences, there's an obvious point. You're reminded of the need to plan your answer. Now look at the wording there, the need. This is something we absolutely need to do. We need to make sure we have a plan and we can prove and evidence that we've planned so that we're evidencing to the examiner that we're organised and structured with what we're writing. And it also says you should leave enough time to check your work at the end. So you can see our timings there, planning, writing, checking. So what you'll have in the question is usually a statement like this, followed by a task. So our statement says, travelling abroad is an experience everyone should have. Write a speech to your class in which you give your views on the effects of travelling abroad. And we can see our marks break down. We've got 24 marks for content and organisation, 16 marks for technical accuracy, so that's our spelling, grammar and punctuation. So that's why we've really got to take care on every sentence as we write for this 40-mark question, because this is worth half the paper. So we must make sure we're meticulous with how we write it. So I've got my trusty highlighter. We need a highlighter. It's like Bear Grylls going into an area without a water flask. This is something we absolutely need in our English exam. At least one. I would advise you to have 3 or 4 different colours for when you answer the reading section. But for this, we only need one, and I've got my pink. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break this question down so I know exactly what's being asked of me. So it's saying in the statement, travelling abroad. So I know we're talking about other countries and other nations. It's an experience everyone should have. So I might consider whether I agree with that. Do I think everybody should do this or not? Then let's look at the keywords here. Write a speech, that's what we're writing, to your class, that's who we're writing to, in which you give your views, so what I think, on the effects of travelling abroad. So I've just kind of gone through and broken that question down. And what I might now do is annotate this so I start getting some initial ideas. So write a speech. So I know that in a speech I need to start with good morning. That's really the only difference between a speech or a letter or an article is how you open it and how you end it. Everything else in the middle is going to generally be the same. So I'm going to start like that. It's a speech to my class. Now if it's to my class, I've got to think about my audience. It's going to be teenagers. It's perhaps, it could potentially be college, couldn't it? And I might think about the interests of my class. Now they're teenagers. A lot of them might spend a lot of time indoors. I'm just generalizing. I might talk about technology, thinking about my classmates, in which you give your views. Now this is important. When it says your views, it doesn't necessarily mean your views. And I know that's confusing, but you can adopt a character. You can be a certain character, and that will enable you to be a bit more passionate in your arguments than just saying, well, I'm not really interested in this topic. I don't care. I've never been abroad. Now, I'm going to create a character. Now, obviously, it's to my class, so I am going to be a year 11, but I'm going to create my character. Maybe I'm a year 11 who travels a lot. So I'm going to put I'm well travelled. Okay, I'm someone who travels a lot. Why am I so well travelled? Let me think. Maybe we've moved house a lot. I've lived in different countries. So this is now I know this isn't true, but that's not what this is about. This is about my writing style, and this will help me in my writing style. Now I've also got here the effects. So what are some of these effects of travelling abroad? Perhaps the effects are you become more mature because you've experienced different cultures. You become a bit more, maybe we become a bit more accepting of others, a bit more empathetic. What other effects can we have? Maybe it would help me in terms of careers later on because I've been to lots of different places. So all I'm doing here, look, is I'm breaking this question down so I understand it. It's a bit like when you talk about biology, when you break down something so it's easier to digest. That's what we're doing. If we look at it all in one go, very hard to digest. If we look at it little bit by little bit, we start to understand what we're meant to be doing. And so this is the kind of initial stage of my planning. Now that I've kind of broken this down, I can then start to structure it up and think about what my paragraphs are going to be about. So I'm just going to write, what are my kind of 4, 5, 6 different paragraphs going to be about. So I'm planning this out now. So I'm going to start with a shocking opening. I want to shock my audience. And notice that I haven't written shocking opening. I've just put SO because this is a plan. I'm not getting marks for this and I don't want to waste too much time. So how am I going to shock my audience with how I'm writing here? I'm well travelled. Maybe I'll start with like a triple. Maybe I'll do like 3 words to do with exotic places. So I could a list of like exotic places like Madrid, but I could do that, or I could put words to describe them, luxurious or whatever, I don't know. So that's my idea there for my opening. My second is when I write my envisage this or my just imagine paragraph. So what am I going to envisage? I'm going to describe maybe a vibrant city that they could travel to. That would be quite good. And what I'm trying to do there is I'm trying to excite the audience. I'm trying to get them interested in travel because I agree with this. Everybody should be traveling all the time unless there's a pandemic on. So after that, I might start putting down some problems. Again, I've just put a P. What are some of the problems that people have with not traveling abroad? Well, money is one of the biggest ones. Fear, people are scared of traveling abroad. Maybe parents might get in the way. Then I might put a counter argument. So what's the counter argument going to be? Maybe other people would argue that traveling isn't essential because of technology. They're going to say, well, why would you need to go to other countries when you can just use your laptop or phone to do that? And I'll refute that. I'm going to go against that and say, yeah, but it's not the same. It's going into Italy and smelling the food that's on offer and having that experience. Finally, I'm going to put a counter argument. I'm going to put solutions. So what are some of my things, some ideas or advice I might give people? It might be about saving money. Maybe I'll say about starting small, starting with travelling to different areas in the country, like Scotland, or maybe going to Scotland or Ireland, and then moving on to bigger countries, learning a language. That's quite a good one. And then finally, I'm going to do a cyclical ending. So I'm going to start how I ended. I'm going to also talk about the exotic places because I want to show that I've got that reflective closing. So there's an example of the kind of thing you might put for a plan. Now notice that to an examiner, it's not going to make much sense. And that's okay because the only person who needs to understand this is me. I'm the only one who needs to know what's going on. So long as the examiner can see that I had a plan and I knew what I was doing, that's fine. But remember, this isn't really for the examiner again. This is so I can go back to and say, okay, what was I going to put in this next paragraph? And making sure that I don't put all my good ideas in the first paragraph and then I'm stuck for the other 2 sides of A4. So now I've got my plan, I'm going to start writing it. So I'm remembering my character. I'm someone who's travelled a lot, I've moved around a lot, and I feel this has really benefited me. And I'm talking about travelling abroad. So I'm going to start with, because it's a speech, I'm just going to say good morning, and I might put good morning year 11. So I'm being specific with my audience. And that, like I said before, is the only thing that distinguishes this as a speech, apart from the ending where I might say, thank you for listening. So now I need my shocking opening. So 3 exciting words or 1 exciting word. So I was going to go with exotic places. I might say, let's go with luxurious hotels. So I'm getting a chance here to show off my vocabulary. Luxurious hotels. Let's put vibrant cityscapes. I'm just describing some of the places you could go. Now I've got, quite urban places. Maybe I need more of like a rural or maybe a beach scene. What about if I put, let's see, picturesque beaches. I'll put luxurious hotels, vibrant cityscapes, picturesque beaches. Now I might put a rhetorical question in. That's what I like to often do to engage the reader, or rather in this case the audience, in my topic. So, why wouldn't we crave these kind of life experiences? Now I must remember this is a rhetorical question, so I need a question mark at the end. Luxurious hotels, vibrant cityscapes, picturesque beaches. Why wouldn't we crave these kind of life experiences? Now I like to often put facts. Now I've got my rhetorical question, I'm now going to put some facts in. So maybe I'm going to put unfortunately, and I'm going to make these up. Remember that your statistics and your facts can be made up as long as they sound realistic. Unfortunately, 58% of our, because remember my audience, I am a year 11, of our year group don't even own a passport, and I want another fact in there. So 58% of our year group don't even own a passport, and now because I've done a statistic, I'm now going to put a number because I don't want 2 statistics. Over 100,000 teenagers what can I put? Over 100,000 teenagers, let's put can't even pronounce the word. What word should we put? Let's put a place name. Barcelona. It's the only place I could think of. Let alone walk the famous streets. How's that? Unfortunately, 58% of our year group don't even own a passport, and over 100,000 teenagers can't even pronounce the word Barcelona, let alone walk the famous streets. Now I might end with a question, again to engage the reader. Isn't it time, let's put, isn't it high time, because remember I'm really passionate, I'm a posh teenager. Isn't it high time we, and sometimes the phrase I like to use is ditch the something and dive into the something. So that's a phrase I'm going to use here. It's always good to have stock phrases, and I have a lot of these. We as a civilized society, dystopian nightmare, ditch the blank and dive into the blank. And I'm going to use one of these now. So isn't it high time we ditch the mobile phones, I'll put, because I'm arguing that technology is holding us back, and dive into the I'll put museums of the world. So I've tried to use alliteration with the M sound there. I don't know how successful that was, but I'm okay with that. I'm in exam conditions. So, isn't it high time we ditch the mobile phones and dive into the museums of the world? So I feel like I've been clear in who my audience is. I have used statistics and rhetorical questions to engage the audience, and most importantly, I think they know what I'm arguing in terms of this question. So at this point now, I go back to my plan. Okay, my next paragraph was going to be my envisage this paragraph or my just imagine paragraph. So I'm now going to put here, envisage this dash or just imagine dash. And I'm now going to use all those descriptive writing devices and techniques that I've learned for paper 1. This is my chance to show off here. I can be using metaphors, personification and similes to describe the picture in my head. So the picture in my head is, what was my plan? Let's go back and have a look. Describe a vibrant city. Right, so I'm going to describe you in this city so that you get a sense of it. Envisage this, you, let's use an adverb, gracefully meander. You gracefully meander through the ancient stone streets of a vast European city, comma, envisage this, you gracefully meander through the ancient... Now I want to probably bring in the 5 senses because I can here. So I'll talk about the smell. Now, it's often good to talk about not a physical smell, but smelling an emotion or an abstract thing. So maybe I could put the aroma. Do you know what I might do is sometimes it's good to mix concrete and abstract, like a real smell and the smell of an emotion. Look what I mean now. The aroma of anticipation. Now I'm aware that it doesn't really smell that, but I'm being metaphorical, aren't I? Aroma of anticipation and fresh bagels. I'm getting hungry now. Bagels permeates the atmosphere. Now that was one of my phrases that I've learned for writing to describe, but I can borrow these now in this paragraph. You gracefully meander through the ancient stone streets of a vast European city. The aroma of anticipation and fresh bagels. Good job I checked that. Permeating the atmosphere. That's why we do this. That's why we stop and we check in case we've made any mistakes in terms of sentence structure or spelling. Now I want to extend this a bit because all this is one sentence. Often students stop here and think, I'm done. But we're not done. We want to extend. So what else can I talk about? So we're experiencing this culture, walking through the streets as the... I want to have a map in my hand, but I don't want to just put the map as the glossy intricate. Think about every word you're writing here. Intricate map crumples in my... Oh, hang on. I don't want to mix up my pronouns. It's you, isn't it? Crumples in your grip of excitement, exhilaration. Remember that from my English class. So, as the intricate map crumples in your grip of exhilaration, comma, because I've started with as, I need a comma, I need to finish that off. What else am I doing? Or you doing? You breathe in the historical landmarks. Remember, I'm writing this in real time, so be kind to me. Breathe in the historical landmarks you've only seen on screensavers in the past. See, I'm bringing about that same idea that I don't like technology because I'm dismissing screensavers. So now I think I'm ready to finish this off by bringing it back to my argument, maybe with a rhetorical question. So what can I put? Just think. I might use a bit of humour or a bit of sarcasm. Just think, dash. You could be. Now I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do a contrast of like me or you in a bedroom, just like in a darkened room doing nothing and being bored. So you see what I'm trying to do? So just think, you could be slumped, instead of sat, slumped in a dark bedroom, scroll aimlessly. I was going to say scrolling, but I think that's a good adverb. Aimlessly scrolling on your mobile phone, on your mundane mobile. Mundane means boring, so your mundane mobile. I think I'll put mobile, yeah, full stop. You could be slumped in a dark bedroom, aimlessly scrolling on your mundane mobile. Am I happy to finish there? I might want to just bring a little bit more sarcasm, maybe a question at the end, like a short question. What about, I could put like deal or no deal, couldn't I? Or I could put, what about seriously? You know, I'm bringing some sarcasm in there. Seriously. Now I'm thinking this would be a nice place to put a one-sentence paragraph because I want to mix it up, but I want to say something quite powerful, quite like, you know, quite strong. So how about, now remember that we as a civilized society? That's a phrase I like to use. We, comma, as a civilized society, comma, need to value. What do we need to value? Travel over something. Maybe another T. Travel over. Yeah, travel over technology. I'm quite proud of this. Wish I was sitting my exam right now. Now, I'd be tempted to put an exclamation mark, but I'm not going to because I want this to be quite, you know, powerful. I don't need to point out this is a good thing I'm saying. I'm just leaving it with a full stop. And don't be caught into that trap of the more punctuation you use, the better. Not at all. Stick to commas, full stops, the odd dash, maybe some speech marks, particularly when you're using an expert opinion. That's really all you need. If you're going to use a semicolon, fine, just make sure you're using it properly. I might show you at the end a good place to use it. So that's a one-sentence paragraph. Now, okay, where am I up to? Let's go back to my plan. Okay, so problems, money, fear and parents. Now, do you know what I like to do in my problems paragraph is I like to bring in an extended metaphor. And I always put subject is a metaphor. So, for example, if it was obesity, I might put obesity is a predator. I might put money is a disease. So I'm going to put, I'm going to do, I'm changing. You know what I was going to put about the problems of money, fear and parents? I might change that to the problem is with technology. That's what's stopping us. So I'm going to put technology is a, am I going with predator metaphor or a disease metaphor or a war metaphor? Technology is a, I'm going to go with disease. I think it's a bit like a disease. And I know lots of disease words because they use them a lot on the news. So, technology is a disease. It infects. Now notice I'm using the metaphor of a disease. It infects our minds and poisons our emotions until there is an, I'm going to put epidemic meaning it's everywhere, an epidemic of what? Of depression. Now look what I've done. Disease, infects, poison, epidemic. I've extended that metaphor, and this is a great place to do it in this problems paragraph. Technology is a disease. It infects our minds, poisons our emotions until there's an epidemic of depression. So now I might put an expert opinion in. I think this is a good place to put it. So I'm going to put and make them up and have it ready to go before you go into the exam. Mine is always Dr. Robinson from the University of Durham. I always use him, so I'm going to put that now. Dr. Robinson, you can have mine if you want, I don't mind. Dr. Robinson from the University, because you don't want to spend ages thinking of a person's name. Don't make it silly as well. Make it sound realistic. Claims. Now this is where colon, speech mark, I can now use my speech. So I'm just going to put a little short quote. What does he say? He says, now I need to make sure I stick to, I'm not writing about technology, I'm writing about travel. So I do want to make sure I bring that in. Traveling abroad opens young people's, now I need an apostrophe there because it belongs to them, people's minds to new experiences. It has even, I'm making this up, been proven to increase IQ levels in some people. Again, sounds realistic, doesn't it? I've completely made that up. Punctuation, speech mark. Now, I would always suggest you never end a paragraph on an expert opinion. You need to bring it back to you, and often the best way to do that is with a question again. Bring it back to asking the reader, or in this case the audience, something. So I'm going to put let's face it, dash again, do we really want to be known as the generation that swaps brain cells for likes on social media? Now what I might do there is put likes in speech marks, because I'm aware that it's like a slang term, but I'm doing it on purpose for effect. So that's my problems paragraph. Now let's go back to my plan. What was I going to put next? Counter argument. Right, now I've already talked about technology, so it's okay for me to change that. So I'm going to talk about we don't need to travel anymore. So I'm now going to put, and this is how I often start my counter arguments. Some may argue, or it could be argued that. So I'm going to put it could be argued that, or whilst it's true that, I'll put it could be argued. It could be argued that travel is redundant, which just means you don't need it anymore, redundant, and no longer a necessary experience for the modern, I'm going to put teenager because I need to remember my audience. It could be argued that travel is redundant and no longer a necessary experience for the modern teenager. And then I'm going to be a little bit like sarcastic, a bit lively. Remember, the examiner wants you to show your personality a little bit. Be a little bit like sarky, be a little bit lively and cheeky even. So long as it's done well, you can, really get some interesting marks for that. So, no longer necessary experience for a modern teenager. Then again, comma, neither is, I could put food, neither is eating out, full stop. I'm using some anaphora, which is when we start sentences all with the same word or phrase. Neither is eating out, to full stop. Neither is listening to music, full stop. Just because something is deemed, on to my next page, and I'm going to watch how much I'm writing. Something is deemed, I'm going to put in speech marks, unnecessary, comma, it, and don't be afraid to cross things out. Examiners like that, it shows you redrafting. That's my excuse for why I did that. Unnecessary, it doesn't, just because something is deemed unnecessary, it doesn't mean it's not enjoyable, comma, life-giving, comma, no, not comma because it's and, life-giving and developmental, I'll put. This is where I'm really glad I've developed my vocabulary in class, because it means I can start using some of these adjectives and words that I've been learning all the way through. So that's my paragraph on the counter argument. Now I'm back to my plan. Solutions. Save money, start small, learn a language. So now I'm going to put there are, comma, of course, comma, small steps we can take towards, and I've said small steps, so I'm going to put towards these big experiences. Now, this is where I might think, I'm not sure if I like the word big and small, because they're quite low-level vocabulary, but I've done it for effect because, small steps, big experiences. So I'm going to keep that. There are, of course, small steps. A savings account could be your, and I'm going to use humour again, ticket to ride when travelling the globe, comma, or, what were some of my other ideas I had? Let's have a look. Starting some language. Or paying a bit more attention. Now remember, I'm making up my character here, so I'm going to be more specific. I was going to put paying more attention in French class, but I'm going to put paying a bit more attention in, I'm going to make up the teacher's name, Mr. What shall I call him? I don't want to spend too long on this. Come on, sir. Mr. Johnson's, apostrophe, French class. So, a savings account could be your ticket to ride when travelling the globe, or paying a bit more attention in Mr. Johnson's French class. I might even put a small price to pay, because I'm trying to use humour on my audience. We all know Mr. Johnson. He's so boring, isn't he? Making it up. Small price to pay. Good. So, I might want to put then another solution here. That's absolutely fine. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to go straight to my conclusion. So I am going to refer back to my opening. So I started with luxurious hotels, vibrant cityscapes, picturesque beaches. I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I'm actually going to copy what I wrote for the start. And the reason I'm doing that isn't because I'm lazy. It's because I want to prove to the examiner that I am using a cyclical ending, and that is always something that goes down well, so long as it's done well. So picturesque beaches. Now I'm going to change the bit after this. Why wouldn't we crave this kind of life experience? It's what I put before. These kind of life experiences, what can I say, aren't 1,000 miles away. Dash, where are they? They are a click away, on your doorstep. They are just a mouse click. Do people use mice these days? I don't know. Maybe I'm showing my age here. A mouse click away. Full stop. Commit. If I've got two M's in it, I'm going to rewrite that. I can't tell if I've got two M's. Commit to a country by signing up to, I'm going to make this up, globetrotter.com, and you could be joining me on my next adventure. I've used exhilarating, I've used exciting. My next life affirming adventure to another nation. Now, how do we end this? And that's always the question we get. And I always think a good way is 3 we needs. And in those we needs, that's where we could use our semicolons. We need to blank, we need to blank, we need to blank. Bit of anaphora again. We need to broaden our horizons. Then I'm going to put a semicolon. We need to, what else do we need to do? We need to not live life on our phones. Semicolon. One more. It's nearly there now. We need to experience the wide world. Now I might end with a little bit of like personification or something. The wide world that is whispering to us to join the, I've put adventure already, I can't put that again, join the quest for oh come on, I'm on my last word, the quest for the exotic. And then I've just got to remember it's a speech, so I'm going to finish with thank you for listening, and that proves both that I finished and that I remember my audience. And that is a full response. Okay, now we've done that in 40 minutes. You get 45 minutes, so you can guess what I'm going to do in the last 5 minutes. You're going to go through, you're going to check what you've written, and that's exactly how much you want to write, about 2 sides of A4. And we've tried to be lively. We've got key phrases that we've been learning and putting into our writing, and as well as that, we've made sure that our vocabulary is up leveled. So that's everything that you would need to know for that section. Just remember going through it step by step. Remember to break down that question. Remember to plan. And then after that, the writing pretty much falls into line and it almost writes itself. Okay, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to NET English on the YouTube channel.